So 2016 has been a pretty busy year for me. I finished up the new Circle of Dust album, Machines of Our Disgrace, the debut full-length Scandroid album, self-titled, and a bunch of other stuff that happened throughout the year. But I'm heading into wanting to make new Celldweller music, and what I like to do, because I own my own studio, and I'm not spending a lot of money going into someone else's studio, is spend some money on buying new tools that will inspire me and pull new ideas out of me. So I've done that again, where I got some gear that I've really been drooling over for quite a while, and some other things that I just recently discovered. And although there's still more of it coming in, I want to show you a little bit of what I've got and what you're about to hear in 2017. So my vocal chain for many years has been a Neumann M149 microphone running into my original vintage Neve 1073. I then run into, more recently, into an Avalon 747 module where I'm doing some EQing, not much compression, because I'm then sending it from there into my Universal Audio LA2A, then straight into the box. So it's a pretty expensive chain that I go through, and I've kind of learned how it sounds and what I need to do when I'm tracking vocals. But for a long time, I've had a lot of friends that have told me you need an Avalon VT737. That's a great processing chain for instruments and for vocals. And I know I've seen other people use it, and I know in the back of my head I've been just kind of waiting for that moment. And that moment is now. I finally got myself a VT737 from Avalon, and I've actually already tried it out. Last night was the first time I ever hooked this thing up, and I cut vocals for a new Scandroid song called Rendezvous. And although I feel like I still have to figure out some tweaks on this to get my voice to sound like I want it to, it definitely has changed the quality of what I'm getting in my vocal. And I'm not saying it's better or it's worse, it's just different, and it's something I need to get used to, but this thing does sound really amazing. I've wanted one for a really long time, and now I have one, and you're gonna be hearing this all over new material in 2017. It's kind of crazy to say that I've spent most of my career making guitar-based music, and I really don't know very much about guitars because I never really cared. I just wanted something that sounded good. I don't want to spend 3 years trying to figure out how to get the perfect Marshall tone or something like Jimi Hendrix, or I don't care. I just want something that sounds cool. And most of the time I end up spending time trying to make a guitar not sound like a guitar. So I've historically pretty much hated tremolo systems. They always got in the way, never understood them. They only just ended up bending my guitar out of tune when I tried to play, so I've avoided them. But I was recently at Motor City Guitar here in Detroit, and Sean and Doug were there kind of helping me out, showing me some cool stuff. I ended up picking up a Frantone Peach Fuzz from there, and then they ended up sticking this guitar in my hands, and I was like, I don't know. But to be fair, I had been doing a bunch of research and had a kind of reconnection to some music that I loved in the 90s, which was stuff like Medicine, My Bloody Valentine, Slow Dive. So it was the kind of shoegaze kind of stuff. And I ended up watching some little documentary pieces with Kevin Shields from My Bloody Valentine, and I was like, wow, you know, he kind of uses the tremolo in an interesting way. Ironically, I ended up showing up at Motor City Guitar to do some shopping, and they stuck this thing in my hands, and I just started playing, and I started realizing that this would have probably ended up bringing some performances out of me that I wouldn't ordinarily get. So it kind of jarred my mind creatively, and I was on the spot like, I need that guitar, pack that thing up. So I did buy it, and I came home right away, and I instantly put it in a track called The Great Divide. There's a kind of a lead right in the beginning. You kind of hear this bending kind of melody in there, and this is the guitar I used. And I don't think I would have been inclined to create that kind of sound if I didn't have this guitar, which kind of helped me create that part. Here comes the fun part, pedals. So I have more stuff coming in, but I've already got a little bit of a collection that has kind of come in from all over the place, and here they are. I am starting to experiment with actually plugging things in directly to pedals, not just guitars, but my modular synths and my analog synths and things like that. And I've had pedals for years, for sure, and I've used them, but I feel like there's a new awakening in my brain about how I want to use pedals and doing different things, and I'm actually hooking up my guitar amps that have pretty much been collecting dust in my closet. I bought a couple of little combo amps that I have coming from Vox, and I'm excited about plugging in pedals and getting messy and having cables all over the place and doing things that I probably won't be able to replicate. I'll get them once and that will be it, which is very similar to the modular stuff I do. So if you've heard End of an Empire or my Transmission series, a lot of that music was made in that moment, and if you ask me to do it again, they're kind of SOL because I don't even know what I did. So pedals, like guitar pedals, are also very experimental in that same way, and I think there's a lot of possibilities in there, and I'm really excited to jump in and start producing with them and creating some really cool textures and tones and things that I wouldn't ordinarily get. Got a bunch of cool little utility things here, like flangers and choruses that sound good. I found this really cheap, so I had to buy this. This is kind of like a reverb thing. Dwarfcraft Devices I am very familiar with because I have their Great Destroyer Eurorack module and I've had it for a while, so I ended up buying some pedals. I've got the Necromancer, I have the Silver Rose, which unfortunately was DOA when I got it, so I sent it back and hopefully getting another one, and I have more pedals on the way. I have one here which is the Wizard of Pitch. Kind of excited to try that guy out. Don't get violent. Warp Drive, we've got all kinds of distortions. This Ranger Effects Dreadbox also makes modular units, but this is kind of a little foot pedal for guitars, although I will end up using it with modular. Of course, the wonderful Eventide H9, which I've got the Max version, which loads all of the algorithms from the time factor, the pitch factor. All the other Eventide models are kind of in here. And then we've got the freeze from Electro Harmonics, which will end up freezing some notes and doing some cool things. And then I've got some of my other pedals that I've had for a while, like the Retro Mechanical Labs, this custom piece, which is gorgeous here. I've got a wonderful little noise box from Synthrotech that I'm gonna dial in some cool stuff from. And I'm building a kind of little mobile modular case here with like warps from Mutable Instruments, and I've got the Fuzz Factory pedal from Zvex that has been kind of modified by Black Market Modular, and that thing sounds wicked. And so I'm going to be kind of just combining all of this stuff together and creating some beautiful chaos. I know some of you are probably as excited as I am to see this stuff in action, and some of you just simply don't care. But if you want to see more of what I'm going to do with this coming into 2017 and beyond, subscribe to my channel because there's a lot more coming. There's a lot more already there if you want to dig through it.